trust me, you have to stay tuned for the entire video. Hello gorgeous, welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new, and if you are new, don't forget to click that subscribe button to join my YouTube family. We are getting closer and closer to 900,000, so I would love for you guys to join. But as you guys can read by the title, I know it's a lot. Today is gonna be the time that I dated or got hit on by a married man, but I didn't know he was married. Like I said, stay tuned for the entire video because a lot of things unravel in this. I've been getting a couple comments lately saying how many guys have I dated and about my story times, and I just want to throw out there that these story times are in a huge time frame over many years. And as well as, yes, I did go on a lot of bad first dates. A lot of these story times and dates I went on never led to an actual relationship, because you guys will tell by the end of this video why, for example, this one did not proceed any further. I hope you guys enjoy the story time. I hope you're loving these videos. I am having so much fun, like I say, making these videos. They are just so fun for me to sit down and talk to you guys and tell you guys about some crazy stories I've gone through in my life, and you guys are seeming to enjoy it. Love that. If you guys want more, thumbs it up. You guys can always message me on Instagram and follow me on there. It's just at NicolettaXLYT, but let's just get into the juicy juice. This happened a few years ago now, and I went to downtown Toronto to meet up with my best friend Jessica. So my best friend at the time was going through, you know, boy troubles, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna come, I'll stay for a week and help you and just be there for you. So I literally packed up my stuff and went downtown to her condo and stayed there for an entire week. And one night we were kind of feeling it. We're like, let's go out on a girls' night. It's been a while. We are totally grandmas now. And we were like, let's bring old Jessica and Nicoletta back out. So we get all ready and all dressed up, do our hair and makeup, listen to our music. We honestly have the best times doing that. And we decided to head out to a club. So we went to the club, I believe called Century Room. I'm not sure if it's changed. It's either called Century Room. Oh no, I think it's called Everlay now. I don't know. The clubs are always changing here in Toronto and they're always getting rid of them now. So I don't even know if it still exists because, hello, I am totally a grandma now and I am totally a homebody. So I haven't been in a while, but we decided we're just gonna go there. We weren't expecting it to be that crazy because, like I said, it was like a weekday. It was either like Wednesday or Thursday. So we didn't expect too many people to be there, but we were like, hey, we wanna just get out and listen to music and have a good time. And Jessica's roommate ended up coming with us, and we met up with a couple other people there as well. So when we got there, it was actually so packed, and we were so surprised because we weren't expecting it to be that packed. But the reason it ended up being packed is because there was a bunch of people from work that went there. So a huge company was there. There was all these men and women, and they were all in work attire. The men were all in their suits. Yes, because that makes sense. The men were all in their suits and the women were in their business attire. Jess and I were wondering what was going on, and we found out that there was a company. I guess they were all meeting up after work, or I think they actually all had a booth there, so the company actually bought the booth for them and they were all just hanging out. And this guy from the company ended up coming up to Jessica and talking to her and asking her like what her name is, and you know, flirting with her. And then there was this other guy at the company, and I noticed he kept staring at me. He was pretty cute. Your girl was single. We locked eyes, and I kind of just looked away. And at one point, I feel someone tap my shoulder, and it is, what should we call him? What shall we call you? Steve. We're gonna call him Steve. Steve comes, taps my shoulder, and I'm like, why, hello there. Wow, I am weird. Steve taps my shoulder and asks me what my name is, and you know, the typical basic talks. I feel like I never know what to say during this part because it's always like, I feel like the same when you're first meeting someone. And he was a few years older than me at the time. I'd say probably like 4 to maybe even 5 years older than me at the time. We just had a good time. We literally talked all night. It was actually really fun. And we ended up leaving the club together to just go sit outside and talk more because it was so loud inside and we just wanted to talk, and I was actually really clicking with him and talking about a lot of stuff. So we sat outside of the club like near this bench and just kept talking and getting to know each other. Honestly, in my head I'm like, wow, it's so nice to meet a normal person for once. If only I knew, if only I knew. This was not normal. I remember he was like telling me, oh, I never go to the club. I haven't been to a club in years. We're just here for a work. When he's telling me this, I actually like it because obviously I don't want to meet someone that's always at the club all the time. Especially at that point too, I wasn't going out a lot at all myself, and that was kind of like a fluke for me to even be there, and he said that as well. And it was like a good night. So after that, when we talked all night, we exchanged numbers. Jess ends up texting me and we're like, hey, she wants to go home, and I was really tired at that time. Steve actually ends up walking us home because it was really late and my best friend lived pretty close. Her condo was pretty close. He ends up walking us home because he didn't want anything to happen to us. So I thought at the time that was really nice, but honestly, looking back, probably shouldn't have done that because now he knows where my best friend lives, but she doesn't live there anymore, so that's a good thing. So Jess says bye to him, I end up saying bye to him, and we part our ways. He texts me when he's home, and he actually talks to me even more on that night. He calls me on the phone and talks to me over the phone, and he was basically just saying like he hasn't met someone like me ever before, and it was so nice to meet me, and he was so happy he got to meet me, and he wants to definitely see me. And we did actually talk for a long time on the phone, but at this point I was getting so tired, so I'm like, hey, I need to go to bed. Have a good night. So I'm just talking to Jessica and I'm telling her all about Steve and kind of just talking about like, oh, he does this or this, and I think like he's actually different, like I don't know, like I'm gonna keep talking to him, but like, who was I kidding? The person that came up to Jessica at the club from his company, Jess was talking to him a lot about her work, and they exchanged like I think business cards because they worked kind of in a similar thing and they could maybe help each other out in their fields. So Jess did stay in contact for a short time, I think, with that guy. What ended up happening is after the week, I now come back home to my house and I'm still talking to this person via text. He's calling me sometimes. And there was one point where Steve ends up calling me and I hear these kids in the background. I was asking him, oh, who is that? And he was like, oh, those are my niece and nephews. They're over right now. I'm just watching them. And I kind of didn't think too much about it. I had no idea what was coming for me. So I wasn't really thinking anything. I was like, oh, that's nice. That's cute. But all of a sudden, I get a call from my best friend, Jessica, and boy, oh boy, does she have all the tea and all the information that I did not have. Jessica goes on to tell me that the person that she met from that club that was in the same company had told her that Steve was actually married with kids. Love that. Steve was married and had 2 kids. Those were not his niece and nephews. Those were his kids. I am just in shock. At this point, I was like, how many times is this gonna happen to me? Like, can anyone be honest or no? Clearly not. Steve called me, I remember, and I end up telling him like, oh, I heard that you are married and you have kids. And he goes on to say that he does have kids, but he's going through a divorce and that he's not happy with his wife. They're separated, they're not together, and he does have 2 little kids. At that point, I'm like, this is all too much for me. I did not believe his excuse that they were getting divorced. I feel like that's something so common whenever you catch a guy that you're the other woman. They always say, oh, we're broken up, we're going through issues, we're not happy, and it's usually a whole pile of lies. At this point, I just stopped talking to him. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. This is way too much for me. My heart honestly broke when I heard that for his kids and his wife, because I can't even imagine that. I didn't know his social media. I didn't know his last name, so I couldn't search up his social media to find out, to see like his account and see that he is married and has 2 kids, which I obviously knew he was just because Jessica told me, and obviously I believe that 100%. But I was curious and wanted to see his social media account. So like I said, I did know his last name, and his first name was so common that it was honestly impossible for me to find him on Facebook with just his first name. So I decided to actually search up his number on Facebook and see if his account popped up. And I was like crossing my fingers because it was the last thing, and I'm like, please work. Please let your account pop up. And it did. It popped up. So I think his number was connected to his actual account, thankfully. So I was able to find his Facebook. There it all was, his wife and his 2 beautiful kids. They were honestly the cutest little kids, and it just broke my heart when I saw that for all 3 of them. And he actually had a young boy and a young girl, and his girl was like a newborn. So he just had a new kid when I met him. On the profile, it's clear as day they're still together. I ended up finding her account through his. Their accounts, they had like their wedding photos still as like their profile pictures, and then their cover photo, I remember seeing it was them together with their kids, like a professional family photo shoot. And I was just honestly so disgusted. I've never been in that situation where you find someone that's married with kids. Like, he also like looked so young to me. Like, I would have never thought that he was married and had 2 kids. Like, that didn't even cross my mind when I met him. I ended up finding out that he had 2 kids with her pretty young. He wasn't old at all to like for me to think, oh, this guy definitely has 2 kids or something. And I think they knew each other since like high school or college. So they dated for a very long time, and then got married and then had their 2 kids right away. And thinking back to this, it just makes me so sick to my stomach. I found out from one of his colleagues that he ended up seeing me and thought I was cute, and what he did is he removed his wedding ring and put it into his pocket before coming up to approach me. That just makes me sick. Does that make any of you guys sick? Because that is just disgusting. So he was wearing his wedding ring apparently when he walked into the club, but when he walked out, he was wearing no wedding ring anymore. He ended up trying to continuously contact me after, even though I was no longer speaking to him. I definitely blocked his number, but I have 2 messages still on my phone. I guess because I blocked his number, he messaged me on WhatsApp. So I rarely use WhatsApp. I honestly only got WhatsApp during that time I went to Spain with my best friend. If you guys see my ghosting story, you guys know all about it. So WhatsApp is something I don't usually use, but I still have it, and all my combos are pretty much still there for the most part. I don't know. I don't think my combos delete every time I like re-download the app. It just, my combos are always there. I will put up screenshots. So the last message I actually got for him was June 16, 2017, and he just said, hey. And at this point, this is a lot of time after where I haven't spoken to him in a long time, because obviously I found out that he was a married man with 2 kids, so I was no longer interested, and he still continued to try and get in contact with me. And then all the way in October 2018, so he messaged me in June 16, 2017 saying, hey, in the morning, and then all the way now, October 10th, 2018. This is over a year later. Mind you, can we take in, I've only met this person in one night, like that is it. He says, hey, hope all is well, was just in the area where we met. You came in my head, wanted to say hi. What? No, that's just so weird. I have no words. So that is the last message I heard from him. He, I guess, finally got the hint to stop messaging me, and I haven't heard anything back from him, thankfully. Honestly, we met one night and that was about it, and then he was married and had 2 kids, so that was a big no-no for me. I was not about that life, and I moved on. Honestly, it's such a heartbreaking situation. It's a tricky situation because he does have 2 children, and I just want no bad ill for him and his family, because my heart breaks out for those children out of everyone, and even for the wife. So I honestly hope that they have everything figured out. Thankfully, his colleague told Jessica to tell me, because that was just completely not right and so scummy, like him doing that in front of all his colleagues. Like, obviously probably all those colleagues knew that he was a married man, and his colleagues even seeing him come up to me was probably so uncomfortable for them, because I'm sure they all knew that he was married with kids. But yeah, some people are honestly just scummy and just honestly gross, and I don't understand, and I will never understand this. For a long period of time, I swear I had a sign on my forehead that said, if you're troubled, just come over to me and come say hello, because I dealt with a lot of people that had way too many issues for me to deal with. I went on a lot of bad first dates, or even had a lot of bad like first encounters with guys. So many of them were just like players. I just attracted so many different players, and I always thought, you know, this one's gonna be different, this one's gonna be different, this one's gonna be different, and I was wrong every single time. So love that for me. All of these situations have obviously happened to me a long time ago, and I just have never really shared my stories. Honestly, I was kind of just nervous to share stories like this on YouTube. I didn't know if anyone would even want to be interested to hear these stories, but a lot of you guys seem to be interested in hearing these stories, and I know I'm someone that watches these type of videos, so I'm like, you know what, I've had a lot of crazy situations happen to me over the years of my life, so why not just say it to you guys? Let me know if you guys want to hear any more stories from me. Trust me, I have a lot more stories up my sleeve. I'm just gonna tell you guys all these stories until I eventually have no more stories, because to be honest, my life right now is just very boring. So I did have a pretty interesting life at one point. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thumbs it up if you did. Don't forget to click the subscribe button to join my YouTube family. I do upload every single week. And you can also follow me on my Instagram at NicolettaXOYT. I will leave my storytime playlist down below. Definitely go check it out. There is a ton of stories now. And on that note, I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye!